Hi! What's up guys, welcome back. Today is gonna be a try on haul of some stuff I just got at the Sephora sale. I was gonna just be like, oh, we're gonna do a try to get ready with me, and then I realized everything that I wanna use is just new stuff that I got from the Sephora sale, so it's one of those videos. So I have all kinds of new things. I have two new products, new to me, from SAIE Beauty. I have the bronzer and the powder. None of this is a first impression. I am going to be able to give you guys final thoughts on these products today, which is exciting. Oh my God, what did I get on myself? Is it on camera? Oh, you know what that is? You know what that is? That is me picking my child up so that he can go wash his hands after dinner, and him grabbing onto me in one of his sticky, gross hands, getting food on my sweater. That's okay, it's cotton, it's machine washable. Just mommy things. So yeah, I've got the new SAIE stuff. I have the new liquid blushes from Laura Mercier. I have this little godsend, this Kaja Orange Blossom Beauty Bento. This is going to be the centerpiece, the focal point of my look today, which is going to end up pretty darn signature for me. You know, it's gonna be very much like my personal go-to look, even when I'm off camera, to feel like super cute, but in an efficient way. I have new Pat McGrath blush. You guys know I've already been talking about it quite a bit. This is Nude Venus. Going to be using my new Rare Beauty so that you guys can actually see it in action. Also, I went on my Instagram and asked you guys for questions just to give us some jumping off points to talk about. So I'm gonna move you guys in, and we're gonna go ahead and put some makeup on my face. My favorite kind of film to, it's my favorite kind of film to video. Also, we had ourselves an extraction party. We're just gonna ignore that. We're just gonna ignore it. Just like we're ignoring the stain that you can't see. It is raining bears and weasels outside. It just decided it was gonna be 100% rain today. So yeah, I do wanna just be baby today and do things right inside my comfort zone. Probably going to order food delivery for lunch, which is not something that I do all that often, but I'm just like, no go outside. Sorry, I'm baby. Not that I need it, but I'm going to put some sunscreen on. I mean, I always need it. We'll use the Josie Marin today because it's actually at Sephora, and I love this stuff. It's great. It's so juicy and dewy and lovely, and it has like a natural, kind of just a soft, sweet smell to it. Looks kind of green, so maybe it'll help color correct some of this red as well. It just feels really nice. I went back to a side part today. Mike and I started watching Death on the Nile last night, and I know this is an unpopular opinion, sarcasm, but I think that Gal Gadot is perfect. She's an exquisite specimen of a human, and she always rocks the side part, and I was like inspired by Gal Gadot. I was just like, maybe I go back to the side part. I've also been using some hair serum that's supposed to help all of my postpartum loss grow back in, which was the reason that I started center parting my hair in the first place, was because just the regrowth was so weird looking and it was so annoying, and so now I feel like we're kind of over the hump. Isn't that nice? I think it did kind of help cancel out a little bit of the redness. Redness is not a problem that I typically have, so I don't even really have any products for that. It's just, I've been picking. All right, we're going to start here with the Rare Beauty, and I've talked at length about how much I like this, so this is a good opportunity to answer a question. Also guys, I just launched the simplest forum. It's just something I've been meaning to do for a while. The working title right now is Creator Advocate, and basically it's an anonymous forum, as in, if you want to be anonymous, I highly recommend using something that's not your name. If you are a creator and you can post about your experience working with brands and actually like disclose what you asked for and what you got paid and stuff like that, for the sake of transparency, because these brands and their affiliated agencies, Google, everybody who holds the money also holds all the cards as far as our data is concerned. And I find that anytime I talk to another creator who has partnered with a brand that I've partnered with, we have completely different situations as far as like what we asked for and what we got. There appears to be absolutely no rhyme or reason to it other than just your negotiating confidence in a lot of ways. And I know that some brands are better than others. So that is why I wanted to kind of create a unified platform to talk about that stuff. And I know that there are going to be people who kind of, it's self-reporting and it's anonymous, so I know there's probably going to be some like fly balls, but I want to make it useful not just to like other creators of my size and stuff like that, but also creators of color a lot of times do not get paid as much or paid at all for the same partnerships that other creators do. And so that is something that I also want to be transparent about. Like, if people want to volunteer that kind of demographic information about themselves, they can, but I do want to do just like a general reality check and also like a platform of accountability for brands who aren't paying creators of color and things like that. Who knows what other positive things could emerge from it? Who knows if it will become an absolute dumpster fire? We shall see. But if you're a creator, I will link it down below for you to check it out. Creator of any size, as long as you've like worked with a brand before. If you had to make the case you were in Truman Show situation, what's your evidence? That's a phenomenal question. Some of y'all just are like waiting, champing at the bit for a good ask me something thought-provoking, because you guys are like, this question lives rent-free in my head, you know? Y'all are my people. So anyway, yeah, I would say like I don't think that I'm in a Truman Show situation, but if I were to make the case for it, I would say that being an Aries and thinking that I'm the star of the show all the time, being an Enneagram 3 mainly, I think that that would probably be the motivation for me to be like, oh, everything's about me and everything's about me and the show is about me. I'm the main character, you know, I just have main character energy anyway. But also, maybe the fact that I feel like there's order to the universe. And I could totally see some director being like, she thinks there's order to the universe, let's reinforce that, you know what I mean? And like, make sure she believes it kind of thing, so. I just put complexion product on and wipe it off. Put it on, wipe it off. So that is the thinnest layer of the Rare Beauty. I have just been in the mood to wear very, very thin layers of complexion product right now. Also, if everything's really blown out, it's because, like I said, it's like storming outside, so the sun didn't come up today, rockadoodle. All right, I know I have to say it. Chanticleer! Anyway, I'm using the Item Beauty concealer because the concealers, I know I've ordered at least one concealer in the sale, but it hasn't come yet. Please tell me what it means to be a Pisces sun, a Libra moon, and a Pisces rising. Okay, so your sun is your, you know, basic overall self. Rising is like the face that the world sees, almost like how you're perceived, but it's also sort of your tendencies, I guess. Your moon is your like emotional self. So deep feels. Pisces is the end of the Western zodiac that, you know, I adhere to. That means that, like, since Aries is like the full card in the tarot, we're like the zero, we're like the big risk takers, the mom, I am the friend that jumps off a bridge, like we're that person, and the big fiery energy. The end of the zodiac is the one kind of bearing all the weight of the consequences of the universe, and not necessarily like paying for it, but definitely bearing the emotional weight. And it also tends to make them very, very complex individuals. They tend to be a little harder to get to know because they cannot just, like, they're so emotionally fluent, I guess you could say, like you're almost born emotionally fluent, that you kind of like find different ways of channeling that in your everyday life in a way that's manageable, so that you're not just like a quivering pool of emotions all the time. And there are people who are kind of in your safe space where you feel like you can be that vulnerable with them. Like, I'm a Cancer rising, and I kind of cross over into deep talk really easily. It's just kind of like all the same to me, you know, open book status. But I don't feel like I kind of carry the world's emotions on me. If that were my sun sign, I probably would. So the fact that Pisces is your sun and your rising, you probably have a lot of coping mechanisms, hopefully healthy, but we all have unhealthy coping mechanisms as well, to self-mother and cope with the fact that you feel everything extremely deeply, and I want you to understand that you are special in that respect, and the people around you who you can't relate to you on that level, it's not your fault, it's not their fault, it's just kind of your nature. And having a Libra moon. Libra moon! I'm going to bronze here with the SAIE while we do this, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, it's better shade match wise for me than either of the Chanel bronzers, these guys, but it's still not perfect. You got a Libra moon. Your moon again is your emotional self, and Libras are cool, but they tend to be kind of peacemakers. They tend to be all about balance, and they really care whether everybody else is having a good time. Okay, so a lot of people are like, oh, earth signs are type A, and air signs are like off the charts, like not paying attention, super ADHD or whatever. Like there's like all these generalizations, but the fact is like you can have a lot of the same traits. It's more about kind of why, like what the motivation is behind it. Libras are at the end of the day kind of people pleasers, and they like things to be predictable and be the same. So being that it's just your emotional self, it probably means that you are kind of always trying to balance your own feelings with the greater good and other people. And I would say that overall, that means that you are a very, very sensitive person who's also sensitive to the people around her. And the people in your life that really, really have your full attention are incredibly well taken care of. But that you probably have to like choose those people really, really carefully, because you can get sapped really easily. I could be totally wrong. You might just be like me, where you're like, yay, let's talk about feelings and let's just be spontaneous. I have no idea. But if that, you know, I think by textbook, like that would probably be sorta it. So yeah, that's a pretty good bronzer. I really like the consistency of it. I really do. But the color is not perfect. It's a little orange still, you know? I would want just a little bit more beigey grayy in there. Okay, what do we have for blush? That's right. I have these Laura Mercier blushes. I just whacked myself in the face with that. Let's use this one. I have Provence, I have Promenade, and then I have Croisette. Croisette is going to definitely be like the most, just the most. So I'm gonna use just a little bit of it. And the reason that I'm using this one, such a tiny amount, but the reason I'm using this one is just because I find these to be watery. It's like not my favorite thing to have like a blush that, I don't know, like it's fine. It's also, Croisette's a little bit more like terracotta than I was hoping for. I was hoping it was gonna be a little bit more of like a purple berry. I don't know, maybe on the skin it's gonna pull a little bit more like that, but to me that looks almost a little bit kind of bricky, right? Kind of like a storm cloud paint or something. But yeah, they are a little bit on the watery side, and I feel like this one right here, Provence, I bought it basically because it's a nude for me kind of blush, and I've been really into nude blushes, and it just doesn't really show up. It kind of just looks like foundation. Like it just looks like I'm adding more foundation. It's hard to describe the difference between a nude blush and a foundation, but it just doesn't like have enough presence to it, I guess. And it's not that I'm never gonna use it, it just is like not really, I don't know, it doesn't give me any kind of thrill when I put it on because it disappears. This is super, super pigmented, you know, because it's just a deeper color. So I find that I like that one better. And with the very thin skin tint on, it's giving me kind of a sunburned vibe that I'm really into. So I'm going to wait on like the other blush and the powder and everything until we do my eyes, because I'm really, really excited about what we're doing on my eyes, and also I kind of want to powder everything at the same time. If you had to choose only one brand for all of your makeup, which would it be? Ooh, it would have to be something where I have a foundation and a concealer. Oh, Bare Minerals. Yeah, I think it'd be Bare Minerals. Now I need to touch back into Clinique, because I feel like Clinique is one of those brands where I could see myself like having an entire beauty routine just in that range. That or like Laura Mercier. I haven't gotten like way back into Laura Mercier, but everything that I've tried recently I've really enjoyed, but I don't have like enough experience or enough of her products to say so. But yeah, it would probably be either Bare Minerals or Clinique, especially since Clinique was the first tubing mascara that I ever used. So we're starting with this. Actually, I'm going to start with this. This is my Revlon Color Stay in Chocolate. I think you can pretty much like only get this on like Walmart.com. I got it in person. Where did I go? Was I just at Ulta? I can't even remember where I bought. I think I was at Ulta. But I just like picked it up off the rack, you know? I didn't buy it online. But like you go on Ulta and they don't have it. So I don't know. I don't know. But the reason I'm starting with this is because A, it's a good base, and it kind of reminds me of like the Groundwork paint pot. For memory, I'm not really sure. I think the Groundwork paint pot might be a little bit warmer than this from MAC, but also it's going to be the color I use on the crease anyway, and it's just so stinking easy to use. It's so pretty and lightweight, and the color is outstanding. It's so different. It's like purple brown almost. So I've got the Kaja Bento here, the Beauty Bento in Orange Blossom. You guys really, really encouraged me to try this over the years. And what's so funny is like great minds think alike, because as soon as I posted about it, Amanda just replies, she's like, dude. I was like, have you tried them? She's like, yeah, I just ordered Orange Blossom during the Sephora sale. And I was like, me too, but like we didn't communicate about that. It's kind of like that Dior palette that everybody, but I returned that, by the way. It just looked like charcoal on me. I don't know. I couldn't get into it. And I also returned the terracotta bronzer from Guerlain. It was like hot apricot on me. I don't understand. It was not a bronzer. It was just like a peachy orange color. And I was like, this doesn't work as a blush. This doesn't work as a bronzer. It was pricey and it had a smell. And I don't mind a smell, but like, you know, on top of all those other things, it didn't really have much redeeming value to me. So this is the brown. I don't know if they actually have names necessarily, but this is the brown one in the Beauty Bento. And it is just like next level pretty. This one doesn't have a shift. The other two shift, but this one is just rich brown. It's so pretty. And I've been really into this kind of tonal look lately, and I know what you're thinking. You're like, why'd you declutter all of your Glossier monochromes? Because those were not different in texture enough that they excited me, and they just weren't like fun enough to work with. I like that this has already like 3 topper shades that I can just like have as my starting point. I don't have to like pick a lane that hard. While I love this one, this one is absolutely like game-changing. Game-changing gorgeous. I cannot figure out what it reminds me of. I swear, I know that like, you know, NARS Orgasm is like known to have a shift like that, but I swear I had this color in a MAC eyeshadow at some point. At some point, and it was like some probably special edition or something, but ooh-wee, 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 it's so pretty. And they're powders. I think that they say they're creams, I'm not totally sure. Or like they have a bouncy texture, and they kind of do. They kind of do, but I still think that they behave like a nice powder, you know? It's not necessarily, like you pick it up on your finger, but it's not creamy necessarily. And then the last one, without, you know, sticking my fingernails in them, there's this beautiful, this actually probably is a little bit more like NARS Orgasm, right? It's a very pale pink with a gold shift, and it's a much more neutral gold, and the other one is like a bright, almost like orangey gold. They're so pretty, the choices, and there are tons of these. I love this one. Like, I don't want to sell this one short by just going and picking up all of them. Not yet, anyway. But it is cool to know that, like, if I ever want to, like, mix up my routine and give myself a little treat, that, like, these little beauty bentos are great. And it's, like, a fun way to open up your makeup routine. That, like, you have 3 completely new main character eyeshadows that you can, like, work around that can be, like, an entire look, basically. And it's just in, like, this nice, slim little package. That was, like, my big hang-up about Kaja, was that they had gimmicky packaging, but these are very, very like slim and efficient. I did my eyebrows. I don't know how long ago my camera shut off, but I just did my eyebrows with my Kosas. So, Beauty Bento. That is what is on my eyes right now. And I did a little bit of Fix Plus over the top so that everything would kind of settle, because I am gonna kind of keep working it and I didn't want it to fall out like crazy. Now, I'm gonna take a brush. Here, this is my Thrive eyeshadow crease brush. I like it because it's a little bit dense. and it's really good for cream shadows, especially if I'm working in kind of a large area. And I just kind of swirl it in that Revlon again. And it's just such a nice complement to that brown shade from the Beauty Bento. It's funny, I posted on my Instagram yesterday, I was like, I'm not a one and done girl, but I can make magic with 2 shadows, you know? I just need 2 finishes. I can't have a shimmer everywhere because I need to be able to build an illusion of, I am actually trying to change the shape of my eye optically. And so I have to, in order for my eyes to like look finished to me, there has to be some kind of acknowledgement of all this real estate on the side of my like temples. And also I feel like I need eyeliner to feel like it's a look, you know? I can go without it, I don't care. But a look like this, I feel like it really needs eyeliner. What's an unpopular opinion that you actually love? From a parenting standpoint, I have a lot of unpopular opinions. And there's one that's like not my opinion. This is actually pretty good. It's not my opinion, but I agree with it. And that is that I really align with these women who have had to really go the extra mile to like find good resources to learn how to co-sleep safely. We have never, not even one night, co-slept with Simon. He's always been an incredible sleeper, but I don't give myself or Mike credit for that. It's just natural. That's the way that it turned out. There are plenty of people that that's the only way anybody in their house can get any sleep, is to have the baby sleep in the bed with them at least some of the night. And the fact that there is absolutely no literature on it in America, like it's not as discouraged elsewhere, but doctors absolutely will not even give you advice on it, which is basically the same thing as like teaching abstinence in schools. So no one understands how to actually effectively prevent getting pregnant when you are sexually active, because they think that like the only answer is to teach you just not to do it at all. And of course that's not acknowledging reality. And so acknowledging reality, people are going to try to co-sleep with their babies. So there needs to be education around that and how to do so safely. Again, it's not something that I necessarily experienced. It was never something that even occurred to me, although I did have like a nightmare for the first, I don't know, a couple of months of my child's life that I had lost him in the sheets, and I would wake up having some kind of like meltdown looking for him in the sheets, and my husband was like, "You're not okay." And that's an entirely other story. But after talking to so many women, because kind of the thing that happens when you are pregnant, you just kind of collect a group of people around you who are like in your similar like pregnancy cohort, right? And so like talking to a lot of people or following a lot of people, I mean, I would say like more than half of the mothers who I have, you know, kind of inherited into my network essentially, ended up co-sleeping and did so safely. And I had no idea until my own, you know, experience talking to people how prevalent it is. It's so common, and we act like it doesn't exist because it's like off limits and it's so ridiculous. We need information around it. So yeah. That is an unpopular opinion that I 100% agree with. All right, I'm gonna do a little highlighting moment just here with my Hindash palette, which is not available at Sephora, but it is now on Beautylish, so there's that for you. And I'm just gonna use this to kind of blend the edges and get that nice blur, clean it up, clean everything up a little bit. It does a little bit of setting on my under eyes too. Why am I so chill when my big 3 are all different fire signs? Happy fellow Aries season. Again, you can manifest a lot of different personality traits. It's just about why. You know, you could be really chill because you're really confident. Be really chill because you have taken control of your own narrative and landed yourself in a position where you're really, really happy. You could be like me in the sense that you understand that a lack of control is actually something to take comfort in, because control is almost always an illusion. And I was definitely faced with that during pregnancy, but it was something that like I realized just as soon as like things started happening and I felt like crap, but the doctor told me everything was fine, that it's like, oh, nature knows what it's doing. It really, I am a casualty of this. I am a vessel. My feelings on this don't really matter, and that I am not in control. You know, just keep eating ginger snaps and bear down and, you know, figure it out kind of thing. I think that's kind of one of the best things that I did for myself. There were a lot of things that I didn't do well, but one of the best things that I did personally for my personality was like, I had no birth plan. I went into the hospital. I was like, I trust you. I had doctors that I trusted. I had nurses that I trusted. And I just left it in their hands. My mother always told me, she's like, baby's coming. She said that before I was even pregnant. She's like, baby's coming. Now, there are exceptions. Obviously, there are things like C-sections and stuff, because sometimes the baby's coming and the baby's coming weird. There's lots of extenuating circumstances, but baby, if all is going correctly, is coming. I took comfort in that. Like, people were like, oh, are you afraid of like childbirth? And I'm like, no, dude, I'm afraid of being pregnant for the rest of my life. Get this thing out of me. I'm so tired of being pregnant. I hated being pregnant so much that the inevitability of childbirth was very comforting to me. And I was just like, I love not having control. Y'all do it. Everybody always asking for me to manage everything because I'm this born leader and I know what I want, blah, blah, blah. It's my personality. And so everybody's always like, well, you know, what do you think we should do? Man, nothing better. Nothing better than just like rolling my buns up into the hospital and being like, I have a baby. And they're like, all right. They plug me into a bunch of stuff and they just like take over. That's comforting. All right, let's powder here. This is the SAIE powder. This is the Air Set in translucent. And man, expectation versus reality. You guys know how I feel about SAIE. SAIE has been real hit and miss for me over the years. And I feel like many brands would not have been able to sustain the kinds of initial errors that they made in their formulations. Like, some of their formulas were just so bad that I was like, they won't survive this. And somehow they did. And I don't know how, because it's like, we're really, really hard on brands like Glossier. I mean, I'm not defending Glossier, but we're really hard on brands like Glossier. And then like, you know, SAIE puts out like a menagerie of mediocre products, and then like, we're still champing at the bit for their next product. And I'm like, okay. So I bit the bullet, right? And I bought this. Y'all, that is not translucent. That is yellow, and it doesn't go translucent on the skin. Someone like Hannah, this would change her race. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but it would change her undertones. And it's fine for me because I tend to kind of over lighten and over brighten anyway. So it's like something that there is use for in my routine because it can kind of help take down the contrast because it's just slightly darker than my skin. But the first time that I used this, I just kind of used it on my little Wayne Goss brush that I tend to powder with because it's smaller and because it was more of a concentration in one area. I mean, it just made this big yellow blob underneath my eye and like ruined my entire makeup look. So I don't recommend this. I would highly recommend the Kosas over this. I love the Kosas Cloud Set. It makes your skin look absolutely beautiful all the time. This is a pain because you have to dispense it from its little sifter and everything. And I just am not dazzled, guys. I'm just not dazzled by this. So yeah, SAIE is still on my like medium list. I just don't really get it. I don't really get their point of view yet. Their blushes were like the only thing that I felt like I was like, okay, this is a star product. This is memorable. Now this is Nude Venus, and it's not at all an undupable shade. It is very, very similar, both in finish, in formula and everything, to Kiss of Pink from Bare Minerals. Obviously Nude Venus is a little bit, it's this one, it's a little bit more apricot, but yeah, they're very, very similar. That said, this is the more apricot-y of them, and I really cannot speak highly enough of this formula, but it's a little bit apricot-y for this look. Maybe we will include a little bit of the corally eyeshadow color in here to balance it out. But this is not at Sephora, and I just like it. And it's the new pink one from M Cosmetics. It's called Cherub, and it gives you little cherub cheeks. And look at that, it wakes my face up. I need to have my face woken up sometimes, you know? But you see how my face is kind of muddy right now? Because of that SAIE powder. It's like it kind of lost all of its like natural luminosity, and everybody's like, oh, it's not mattifying, and it's mattifying. It's a lot more mattifying than the Kosas. I'm just not a huge fan of that powder. I feel like it makes everything look a little bit phony on me. I'm gonna use a little bit of Makeup by Mario bronzer back here. And I'm going to powder or something underneath my eyes. You know what I'm gonna use? And somebody said that like you can't find this hardly anywhere, so I'm wondering if it's getting discontinued. Maybe they'll just repackage it, but the Bare Minerals Bare Pro concealer is like one of my favorites. It's just so darned agreeable. So yeah, basically what I did just now was I assessed the fact that my face just looked a little bit kind of blotchy, and that what I needed was to refocus the contrast of like, I want your eye to be attracted to the places that I want it to be attracted to, not to these areas of like discoloration where I've been wiping my nose for the last 2 weeks, or where my eyes are like, you know, kind of sunken in right on the inner corner, which is kind of accentuated by that that purpley brown that I used. So it's like brighten up just a little and it goes a long way. And I'm gonna use my freaking Kosas powder for this because I'm just, ugh, I don't like that stuff. I'm gonna do a little bit of like touching up on my eyes because I did just like splotch the hell out of it somehow. I'm not really sure how I did that. And then I will do like eyeliner and mascara and stuff, and we'll come back and talk, I don't know, lips, whatever. I don't know. I also never contoured. I'll contour too. So we haven't done lips yet, but this is most of the vibe. Ooh! What is something someone can do and you know immediately that you don't like that person? Ooh, that's a shady question. All right, let's do some lips here. And I'm actually going to go back to an oldie because you guys have been asking me about it. And of course, this is not everybody's favorite brand in the world, but this is one of the most undupable shades that ever existed. By the way, I think I have mascara like everywhere. And this is the Hourglass Unreal Lip Gloss in Provoke. And typically I would like line and like make this the big focal point and everything. And it can be very lush. It is a plumping lip gloss, but I found that I really like it just applied really thinly. It's just almost like a wash because it just sort of cools off my lip color. And then I'll answer that shady question that I like very much. I would say that the thing that like just me personally, and I don't think that that means that this person is just like broken and unfixable, but like I don't have it in me to try to fix them, and I don't have the energy to try and engage with them, is men who talk over women. I don't like being interrupted. I think being interrupted is really rude. And sometimes it's an excitement thing. Kids a lot of times will kind of interrupt because they get excited about what you're talking about. And I think that that's like a different, just like a missing social cues, but full grown adults who do that, it's because they have unchecked biases or maybe completely checked biases that tell them that like a woman talking is not as relevant or as important or holds the same weight as a man talking. I don't have time for it. I don't have time for men talking over women. It absolutely, like, I will leave a social situation with my husband and be like, yeah, your friend so-and-so, I don't ever want to see him again. And he's like, did he interrupt you? And I'm like, not only did he interrupt me, he basically just like completely ignored that I was there, you know? Like, and it's just, there's just so much to be said for the man that is like a conversational narcissist. He only wants to like talk about things that are about him, but really I have experienced it so much, that just that manifestation of toxic masculinity that can be in a man who thinks that he is not like that. But if a man talks over a woman, he is like that. Okay, it takes attention and it takes work and it takes effort to overcome those kinds of biases, but that's their lot in life. That's their job because they get to be men, where their word is taken more seriously in most cases. Cis white males in the Western world, their word just means more. It has more authority because they're men. So the least that they can do is do a little bit of legwork and figure out how to not interrupt women. Yay! All right, I'm gonna move you guys out. We'll do a quick and dirty final thoughts on every one of these, and we all know it won't be quick. Wow, I actually really love the way that this turned out. It all came together with the lip, and I don't know if you guys saw me, but like, it came together with this. The Dior 001 pink. This is like the best thing ever. And I said that it was I had a theory that these two things were going to be like dupes. Not even close. This is so utterly beautiful. The Cherub blush, the Heaven's Glow blush from M Cosmetics, absolutely gorgeous, love it, zero regrets. I have, done entire looks around it. I think the main thing that threw this off was actually the SAIE bronzer. It just kicked it off on an orange foot and it was working against it the whole rest of the way until I got here. So my endorsement of this still stands. Now, beginning at the beginning here. Rare Beauty, you made a beautiful skin tint. Okay, I like it very, very much. I'm in 14W, you guys know how I feel about this. It wears really thinly, or it builds. It's super beautiful. It wears a really long time. It's very comfortable. I think that it makes my skin look glorious. I love it a lot. I love it a lot. It gets my full-throated endorsement. The SAIE Sun Melt. I really feel like it kicked my whole face off on, kicked my face off, pause. That was the whole sentence. It kicked my face of makeup off on the wrong foot. And I can't even really put my finger on, I need to stop. The reason why is it doesn't look that different from, oh, it's very different. So this Milk Makeup bronzer that was also $30 and is 0.6 fluid ounces. I mean, a cream and a liquid are gonna be different from each other in terms of like the amount that you get for your money anyway, but I do think that it is a little bit silly for that thing to be $30, that little bottle, but this is the Milk Makeup and this is the Sun Melt. And I don't want to make this about me and be like, why are bronzers all so orange? But like, I do feel like it has been something that has occupied the market for so long that like fair bronzers lean orange. I'm curious, do they work for anyone? I know that there are very pale people who have golden undertones, or maybe it's for very cool skin and it would sort of counterbalance it and look good. But like, I feel like they're ubiquitous. It's not hard to like throw a rock and hit an orange bronzer for fair skin, right? Why is no one trying to surprise me? I'm still not surprised. It really, really like made the rest of my makeup more difficult. So SAIE it's still not impressing me. Next, these blushes from Laura Mercier. They're fine. They're fine. I was really, really excited about these, but honestly, I like the Daniel Sandler ones better. They're more pigmented. They're a lot easier to use. They kind of like put themselves on, whereas it's just too much gel and not enough pigment. I think that a lot of people would be very frustrated with this because if you're trying to apply this on different finishes of foundation or powder or whatever, which I do like to be able to work a cream on top of powder, even if I have to be very, very like ginger about doing so, I like to have that option. This is just gonna be too wet. It's gonna push your stuff around. And that doesn't necessarily mean that I hate everything that's in a tube because, where is it? The Lisa Eldridge is in a tube, but it comes out really, really, really thick. Or like the Daniel Sandler is in a tube and it comes out really concentrated. And I feel like that is a much easier formula to interact with in this delivery system, is something that does have more pigment because it's inherently going to be more wet. And so you don't want to put a ton of it on. So yeah, I got 3 of these and I'm really, really like not impressed with them. I'm gonna keep working with them, but this is not a run, do not walk situation. The SAIE powder, first of all, it's not translucent, it's yellow, okay? And if your skin can do yellow, absolutely. If you want mattification, it mattifies. I disagree with everything that I've heard about it. It is not translucent. It's nowhere near comparable to the Kosas. Nowhere near comparable. And honestly, from the description that I heard of this, I thought it was going to be more like the Cover FX translucent. Is that dear? Hi, dear. I thought that it was going to be more like the Cover FX translucent or the Ilia translucent, both of which I absolutely love for their versatility. They do actually blur without like super mattifying. I mean, obviously some people like it, so I guess it's working for somebody, but it kind of feels like it can't pick a struggle, you know? I don't want to say never reach for it again, but I will reach for it as like a color corrector when I'm like over brightened. I don't even really like the finish of it. Papograph Nude Venus. Like, do I love this formula? Yeah, and my mind hasn't changed on that, but is this the most unique shade in the world? No. If you're really like after the charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent that comes with this particular blush release, I would go for something a little bit more nuanced. This is just a very pretty corally pink. Now, if that's your color, that's your color, girl. Go for it. You know what I mean? It's absolutely beautiful if you're gonna wear it kind of on its own. But just for me, it's a little bit like just a common peach. Kaja! I cannot promise that I will not pick up one more of these before the sale is over. I like these so much. They're so much fun. And like, it really took all the restraint in my body to just leave it at one on my eyes, because with the blush and everything, I could have gone in with like both of the other ones and just had my eyes completely steal the show. But I wanted this to be easy. I wanted it to be kind of a 2 and done. I did end up going in with the Hindash Monochromance palette and just kind of like blurring and everything so that the veins showing through my skin wasn't as distracting. You can do that with your like complexion powder too, or your bronzer or whatever. I wanted to try and be low maintenance on my eyes today as much as possible, but I just can't say enough about how like fun and exciting this little thing is because these shades are, each one of them is its own personality, its own look, but you can also wear them all at the same time and just go nuts, you know? So I really enjoyed the way that this turned out yesterday when I did it, like just the browns. And I was like, okay, Khaki, this is the look you want to share today. And we're just going to like pump the brakes and make sure that that's the look that we end up with. And I also used the Hindash eye pencil here, so it's like a warm brown liner. I feel like it just like very subtly makes the look, right? Instead of it being like almost like a black brown, makes it look a lot more kind of like daytime and chill. I don't know, guys. I also used this Refi brow stuff. They don't just put a name on anything, it just says Refi. So this is the one with the comb in one end and the spoolie on the other. So it does that number. And I just have gotten more into kind of a blown out eyebrow look lately, so I've been back into using this, and I am interested in the new stuff that just came out. I didn't really hear a lot of like rustling about it. So I definitely want to check it out because I think that she's got like a lip liner, lip plumper kind of thing, which seems right up my alley. I like her kind of exaggerated nude face that she's always going for. It's like, I want to like contour and bronze to the gods, but the rest of it, I just want it to be like glossy and sparse. I like Jess Hunt's aesthetic, so I might check those out as well. I kind of forgot about Refi for a while. And then, you know, you guys know how I feel about this. Again, Hourglass, your call as to whether you want to buy from a brand that took this long to come around to release, you know, shades for dark skin tones, but I've had this for years. It's just, I need to use it, and it's really pretty. It's a really lovely, very uncommon, cool toned beige for me. So yeah, that is why I went with it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Monday is the best and worst skin tints video. I've already filmed it and edited it. Yeah, that should be the next one, so look forward to that. Mark your calendars. And if you want to keep hanging out with me on this channel, guys, hit the button down below and subscribe. I'd love it if you guys did. Thank you so much for watching, for hanging out with me today, and for asking questions and helping make my videos more interesting. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!